my name is Brandon Durrell Beck, and I'm going to be changing my name to Brandon Stanley St. Angelo, and today is my daily vlog. Natalie's taking a nap right now, and that's okay. We had a big update yesterday. We didn't make any video. We were going to make a addendum to the Valentine's Day because after we made the video, we had a really big day after that. Natalie and I got so many books. Actually, I got a couple books, and Natalie got a lot more books. But after we made the video, we went to the public library, and on a whim, I saw a little clue scroll, and there were a bunch of clues. It was a banned book scavenger hunt, and I was like, hey, let's just do that. And then we did, and it was a lot of fun. Sunny's coming around. We spent most of the evening most of the afternoon at the library doing the scavenger hunt, and then she and I sat down and we did some crafts. But then after, on the way back from the library, we went to every little free library book thing that we could find. There's a online resource that Natalie follows, and I was just enjoying going up to the little library and then having a good time with Natalie. We had a really good Valentine's Day, and it was a lot of fun. And today it started off really good too. We went to the library again today because I feel like the library right now is where Natalie and I get a lot of good quality happy time with each other. I've been working on this little video. I don't know where it's gonna go or how it's gonna go along, but I've been working on that for a while. And Natalie has been doing her sticker sheets and doing some crafts, and it's really good mindful activities. I've been doing a lot of chores lately. When I got home, I cleaned up my car, and I did the dishes, and I took out the trash, and now I'm doing the laundry. And I'm letting Natalie nap over there right now just because I don't want to push her to... She needs a rest. The baby's really been kicking her butt. But for the books that I got, I'm going to start with my library books that I got today. I got Alan Carter's Easy Way to Mindfulness, Free Your Mind from Worry and Anxiety. I don't know who Alan Carr is. I said Carter. But from the first couple of pages that I read, I thought it would be, even if it is more of like a mindfulness to quit addiction, I thought it would be fun to at least use it as an opportunity to learn more about mindfulness and the other way that people use it for. I am skeptical of books like these a little bit, just because I feel like, I don't know, he hasn't sold me anything yet, but I'm still gonna try to read between the lines and really get a good idea of what mindfulness is. But I also have another mindful book, 10 Mindful Minutes by Goldie Hawn with Wendy Holden. And I think this is gonna put me a little bit more on ease, take my skeptic influence out of my reading opportunity. And I think I've really wanted to kind of dig deep into mindfulness because I personally am constantly, like, in my deep core, I am an anxious worrywart. I'm always anxious or worried or fearing, and something that has helped me a lot with those really difficult fears and anxieties has been mindfulness. And I wanted to kind of really dig deep into mindfulness and see, what am I doing to harm myself? What am I doing to help myself? And kind of have like more of a better grounded understanding of what mindfulness actually is, other than just be in the moment. And it really has helped. Other books that we got this from the little library. one of them, I got Life's Little instruction book, and it's kind of for boomers. Keep your desk and work area neat. Take an overnight train trip and sleep in a Pullman. Be punctual and insist on it in others. Don't waste time responding to critics. Don't burn bridges. You'll be surprised at how many times you'll have to cross the same river. Learn to disagree about being disagreeable. Be tactful. Never alienate anyone on purpose. Hear both sides before judging. And I kind of like little books like these just because it's just something to sit down and think. But again, it's not that I'm skeptical, but I have to like really, what is it about what I'm reading? Who's the author and what are their experiences, and do they differ from mine? And also get meaning out of it at the same time. Be brave, even if you're not. Pretend to be. No one can tell the difference. Swing for the fence. I read one just as I was flipping through the pages as I was outside in the cold winter air. Don't waste time learning the tricks of the trade. Learn the trade. And I was like, oh, that's actually pretty cool. I like that idea. My favorite book that I pulled out is from Shakespeare to Existentialism. We got Kierkegaard, Nietzsche, Freud. I'm not terribly interested in Freud, but there's just the understanding of not necessarily just the study of all of these existentialists or philosophers, but the relationships that they had together and kind of more of a bigger understanding of existentialism. I'm really excited about this read. There's another book that I was reading that's kind of more of like a layman's existentialism book at the Existentialist Cafe. And it's not necessarily a layman's book, but it does a really, really good job of not necessarily explaining existentialism, which it does really well, but it also puts existentialism in context. And then we learn the personal life of Sartre. But then you also have to think about like the political climate that stemmed from existentialism, and then kind of the overt political turmoil between France and Germany, and Sartre being a Nazi sympathizer, where I really enjoy his ideas and philosophies, but also it's really difficult to kind of look past the politics. But with this book, it's not necessarily that I agree with the author, but despite the person and their influence and their ideas, the idea could be anything. It's really their idea and what you think about it and how you can take that idea and utilize it in a way that works for you. So I'm really excited about this book. I'm really excited about these two books. I am reading this one. It's kind of more of like a really quick self-help book, but I like self-help books, but you have to really take them with a huge grain of salt. You have stuff like the what was that one book? The micro movement, or the micro behavior, the Atomic Habit, by, I think it was James Spark. I believe, take that with a grain of salt. I don't remember exactly. I really enjoyed reading that book, and it's definitely been something that I keep in my mind every time I kind of flip through the pages of that book. Another book that I read, I can't remember the author, but it was it was that the Let Them theory by, what's her name? It's I like the book. I like the ideas and I like the theories, but I don't necessarily care for the author so much. I don't really agree with the author's personality. I don't really like their personality personally. Not that they're a bad person or anything. It's just I don't. We have completely different life experiences, and but I like the let them theory. It's more of like when I'm talking about mindfulness or I'm reading mindfulness books. Something that helps me specifically is really, really slowing down and not worrying about the future or the past. And the let them theory supplements that because it's not necessarily, oh, just let them do whatever they want. It's you don't have any responsibility for them and their actions. You only have responsibility for your actions. And it's not a end all case because of course you have like children or you have other people that you're responsible for, like your family or your own budgets, and like their actions can hurt you specifically. But it's the let them theory is kind of a book about boundaries, which is another idea that I really, really care for is boundaries. When it comes to self-help books, I feel like a lot of the times they're written in a way that doesn't necessarily mean to condescend to the reader, but is more personal to the author. And when you're reading a self-help book, you're obviously reading the words from an author who thought it was important to learn something. So like with a book about boundaries, an author, they're writing about their own experiences. They're being vulnerable, especially in the first chapter, to kind of get you to understand where they're coming from, where they introduce themselves and like why it's important to them, that they're passionate about boundaries. But they're not condescending to you, if that's what I made it sound like. They're writing from their own experience, and your experience can be completely different, and so it's really hard to find like quote unquote self-help that's also objective. Not that self-help books with a specific viewpoint or a specific perspective is a bad thing, because it can definitely give you a different way to think, putting yourself in someone else's shoes, and also relating to them. Even though you two are different people, you can get a different perspective. And so I personally work better with objectivity. I personally work better within like a rigid system. But life doesn't work that way. There is no rigid system. No matter how rigid the system is, the closer you look, the more you realize that it's just as complicated and messy as everything else. And so that's where I'm coming from mostly with the self-help books. But still, I'm excited to read these two library books about mindfulness, because whether or not I agree with the perspective, or whether or not I identify with the ails or I'm not putting myself in a position where I feel like I need to be fixed, and that's the answer. I'm putting myself more in a position of just more knowledge to base future thought on. Another book that I bought this for $1 before I die. From the first couple of pages that I've read the first chapter. Actually, I've read the first couple chapters. It's a young adult fiction, but I saw the cover before I die, and I was like, I wonder what that could mean to this. I'm assuming this is a portrayal of the main character. It's a young woman who is about to die due to some illness. I haven't gotten very far into it, but the first initial thought that I had was before I die, and I was like, well, what do I want to do before I die? And then I was like, this is a young person on the cover, so are they gonna get hurt somehow? And I really, really like reading books targeted for younger people, just because they're really easy to get through, and you don't have to like put too much thought or effort into it. It's just a good time to read. And this book, from the very couple first chapters that I read, seems to be really, really interesting. Real. I'm excited to get through this one too. This one won't take me very long to get through. And the last book that I got, this is the Nosferatu by Joe Hill. My mom really liked this book. She couldn't stop praising it, and I wasn't necessarily interested in this specific story, just because, like, I'm very picky when it comes to fiction, and I'm very picky when it comes to scary fiction, and I picked it up just because my mom was going on and on about it, but mostly it's just because I've read Joe Hill's 13 Ghosts short stories collection, and like on the cover of the one that I bought, it was of the Black Phone guy, and like I think when I read the book, I think the Black Phone was being turned into a movie, or it had already been turned into a movie. But I saw the creepy guy on front, and I was like, okay, well, I guess this is just something to read on the plane, because I was in an airport when I picked it up. And man, oh man, was I wrong about that initial... The very first story was more of like a story of terror. The button eyes, the not button eyes, he had a smiley button, I think. Really, really sad, but vulgar and violent, and like got me to get through the first book on the plane, just like, I'm reading a horror book, these are just horror stories, something to get me to, read. But then all of the subsequent stories that came after, including the Black Phone, are insanely interesting. There's Balloon Boy that I really liked, a story about a boy whose best friend is a boy, but he's made out of a balloon, and he can still walk and talk, and he can inflate, and there's so much that goes on into that story. But then there's also the story about this boy who can fly when he has his blanket, and he had a weird experience when he was a kid with the blanket, but he didn't associate the blanket with flying. But he floated out of a tree for a second, and then he fell to the ground and broke his... But then as an adult, he wrapped the blanket around to go to the bathroom, and then he realized as he was waking up he was floating, and had this really interesting relationship with his older brother, and then he has a really, really interesting relationship with his ex-girlfriend. And the stories are pretty impactful. There was a story about the ghost of trees, and I just really enjoyed reading it. So I really enjoyed reading Joe Hill, and so I thought I would give his novel a chance. He has a couple. I really like the way Joe Hill writes, but with the novel, I've never given Joe Hill a good shot when it came to his actual novels. The thing with Stephen King is he is an amazing author. He can really write, but I don't like how overwhelming his grip is on the book climate. I don't like how a lot of the stories don't end well, or they don't seem to end well. There's a couple of greats that a lot of people in the West are completely aware of. It is as It is like the most powerful, still going strong to this day. But then you have the one about the car, and then you have the one about Dolores Claiborne, and you have the one about the well. But then he also has a lot of really good. I actually like his short stories a lot better than his novels. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna give that a shot. So I have lots of reading to do. Right now I have a bunch of chores to do. But I've just been trying to enjoy the moment, and I've been tired and busy. But I've really been enjoying myself lately. I've been enjoying the company of my family. I've been enjoying doing basic tasks. I've been enjoying doing the dishes and doing the laundry, and the hardest part of the day for me is in the morning when I'm waking up and I feel constantly like overwhelmed and sleepy and anxious. But Annie, as I get up in the morning and like as my day goes along, I feel better and better until I'm completely wide awake right before bed. And so I'm kind of just playing around with my own routines and my own structure to see whether or not I can not necessarily optimize my day to like the strictest rigid structure, as you know, I how I feel about systems and structure, but to help me at least put me on a better path to structure my day in a way that'll optimize my willingness to just enjoy the moment. And I think I could either go to bed earlier and wake up earlier, or I could go to bed later and wake up later. So I'm not, I got a lot of work to do, but I'm gonna enjoy some books, gonna enjoy hanging out with Natalie and Dorian, and then I think that will be it for the day. Oh, at that end of the scavenger hunt that Natalie and I went on yesterday, we got a prize for completing it. We finished the scavenger hunt and we looked through a whole bunch of banned books, and we got a prize. We got a button and this keychain, and then we also got a banned bookmark and a pin. We weren't really doing it for any prizes. I didn't even know there was a prize. We were just doing it because we just felt like it. Anyway, good day yesterday, good day today, good week. Busy week, but good week. And I'm excited to catch up with you tomorrow. Anyway, goodbye, everybody.